Guys, in this video then I'm going to talk about why European populations are being psychologically conditioned to accept conflict escalation with Russia. Let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start off with a news article for 30 seconds maximum, okay? And then we're going to have a video immediately after it of a hottie, and she is a hottie, but she is mentalista, guys. You know the kind of girl I'm talking about. Very similar to the new motorcycle I've just bought from Italy that I love to bits, but it's going to cost me nut cash. Okay, this chap here is Sir Rich Knighton. Then he is basically the Chief of Defence Staff. He runs the whole of the military in the United Kingdom. He was also the Deputy Commander under Mike Wigston during the time in the Royal Air Force when they refused entry to young white men. They prioritised diversity over these men, of course, and now this chap wants your sons and daughter to fight for him. Personally, I think he's messed it up. He's a good man and he's fiercely intelligent. So why are they telling us this right now? The UK needs more people ready to fight for their country as the nation seeks to deter a potential confrontation with Russia. The head of the military has said, listen guys, you can read this if you want. Yes, it is the BBC, and I put it up there on purpose because we are sponsored by Ground News. You can see the bar at the very top. There is an advert in the middle of this. Now, the reason I tell you to take a subscription to Ground News, who is, as I said, the channel sponsor, for £4.40 a month is two reasons. It helps me. And secondly, when you're arguing with people like my sister at your Christmas dinner table, you can tell them, look, I am informed because I've read the Guardian article and I've read the Telegraph article and I can see the problem from both sides.
Anybody else noticing how the mention of war is causing gender ideology and feminism to just basically evaporate? I saw a guy talking about how he's paying close attention to this war because he's wondering if people are going to start getting drafted and men have to be worried about that, and women in the comments, feminists are like, God forbid men have to do their duty. Now it's not toxic masculinity. When it comes to dying on a battlefield, we're all good with that. But any other time, it's this toxic masculinity. Now it's God has a design. We are all created differently. Women can't do what men can do. Yeah, I guess when it's going to cost you your life, your ideologies change real quick.
Okay, girlfriend is mentalista, but would. Now remember, a psyop is not trying to convince you of a singular idea. What it actually is doing is not lying to you. It's trying to reduce your resistance to a future inevitability. Now, of course, most people will happily trade their freedom and liberty for security. And this is called the promotion of the fear factor.
And let's just remember as well, we've probably got 2 million illegal immigrants in this country. So you're expecting maybe, look, I'm 45, whether or not I get drafted or not, I don't know. But I'm not going abroad with me and my son to lose our life while 2 million illegal immigrants are here where our wife and our girls are. No chance.
All right. Now, of course, what you'll also get is the promotion of Russia bad and Europe good. Now, of course, the whole thing about who destroyed the Nord Stream 2 pipeline has been forgotten about. The fact that there are only 3 countries in the entire world that could possibly have done that is just thrown to one side, and I won't speak on it again as a former naval officer and a former Royal Air Force officer. However, you have to remember that when you do question the narrative, like I'm doing right now, then you're called unpatriotic. I'm going to show you something now. Well, I'll run the video first. I'll run the Ground News thing first. I think it's important. When I come back, I'm going to show you something that is going to disgust you, to your core, if you're anything like me. This absolutely, I saw this and it's horrific. Run this video for 1 minute. Have a watch of it. Think about taking a £4.40 subscription, guys. It's cheap as I can get for you. And then come and watch what I'm about to show you next. Ground News is the channel sponsor, bringing you 40% off, guys. It's a brilliant deal because what it does, it's a news comparison site bringing 60,000 articles from 50,000 sources every single day. And for each story, what they do is they bring them onto a single page, allowing you to see the full picture and check your biases. Now, the great thing about this, though, if we just check on that bias comparison tab, we can see it gives us a summary of the left-leaning articles that frame Farage's campaign as an aggressive attempt to conquer Scotland, whereas the right-leaning articles conversely emphasise his party's path to success. You can see on that distribution exactly where the stories lie. Ground News is an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers and expand your world view. That is from the Executive Director of the Nobel Peace Centre, the guys that do that Nobel Peace Prize stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Now, I've partnered with these cats for a long time, almost a full year. They appreciate what I do and they appreciate the audience that I bring to their product. Now listen, you're getting a better deal than me, mate. £4.40 a month. The boys be tripping out there, I'm telling you now. Hit the QR code up here. Who's the doctor they told you to go and see? Dr. FJP, bringing you the deal of the year. I appreciate you watching the ad, guys. I do. Now, this Rasmus Jarlov is actually a Conservative MP in Denmark. I had a bit of an altercation with this chap during the week, and I want to show you what was said. This will upset you as much as it upset me. I'm sure it will on this channel. Why are people who are right about immigration so often defeatist, cowards in the face of Russia? Why can't we have right-wing parties that are uncompromising on immigration and uncompromising against the Russian threat to Europe? Tommy Robinson obviously has written here, we won't fight for you. And I think we all feel the same way about the globalists and what they've done and how they put down the young white boy, the actual lowest demographic. They're not actually going to university right now. Everyone else seems to be, guys. So he's actually written down here, a genuine patriot does not allow a second-rank power like Russia to push Europe round. He tells Putin to F off. I wrote back, look, mate, you don't understand British politics. The government has spent the last 2 decades telling the young white man that they are worthless, guilty of misogyny, racism, colonialism, and now they want them to fight for them. You know, I did swear here, and I do kind of regret that, unfortunately. He wrote back, so as a patriot, you are not willing to fight for the UK if Russia attacks. And I did reply to him, and I'll show you my reply. Skip that one. Go down this one there. Now, Schrodinger's Russia is quite an interesting, wasn't it? Simultaneously losing in Ukraine, but able to sweep across Europe tomorrow. Like the threat from Russia, how real is this really? Let's be honest, guys. But I wrote back to this Conservative politician. I said, mate, I did 20 years in the military. Talk to me about your military service. We were waiting. It's a pretty simple question. Talk to me about the sacrifice you've made, mate. Talk to me about your patriotism. When did you join the military? This guy has done very little at all. And of course, he never even got back to me. People are saying we're still waiting. And this is really at the core of it. I even said, look, your service record, we're waiting for that. You know, leaders are supposed to lead. But of course, we know these people have no intention whatsoever of putting their foot forward or sending their own children into this conflict. And this is the actual definition of a politician wanting to send your kids first. He's got no intention of sending his children at all. I've never seen anything as blatant as this, and it should make us really angry at these people. And you have to ask yourself, why is it all being pushed at the same time? And of course it is. This is Sky News. Again, you've got the banner at the top, guys, which is super useful when using Chrome. I mean, it's a really great deal. Look, this is saying, get ready to fight. Armed Forces Chief issues stark warning as Russian threat grows. How is the Russian threat growing? MI6 will say that they're infiltrating all our computer systems and it's all gone mad. We just don't see it, do we? We don't see it at all. But let's not forget what they're going to do. They're going to start flooding us with experts on the TV screen. I'll show you Hamish, Brett and Gordon in a minute. Man, I can't tolerate it at all. They're going to show us maps. They're going to show us all this breaking news. They're going to accelerate the urgency. And what's going to happen to all of us then is we're going to get this cognitive fatigue when really we can't just deal with the onslaught of what's going on. We'll have this emotional reliance on authority because that's all we can really trust at any one time, guys. And then we're going to have this kind of reduced independent synthesis, this reduced independent analysis. Guys like me will just not make videos because it's just too much to do. And one thing I am finding right now is there's so much information coming out about it, I can't even make a video for you because by the time I get around to making the video and releasing it, I lose half my subscribers anyway, and the next thing is there. I've got to make a video about the next thing. This thing is old news. So much like what Tony Blair did, where he didn't discuss whether we're going to go to war with Iraq or not. He just said, well, it's inevitability. It's just how we're going to go to war. That's what we're discussing. It's how. We're obviously going. Everyone knows we're going. But how are we going to go? And when are we going to go? And that's what he did with the dodgy dossier and everything else. The mass destruction weapons, 45 minutes. And that's what's happening today with Russia. It's going to be, well, we're obviously going to go to war with Russia. It's how are we going to do that? How are we going to conscript people? And we're seeing that with Germany at the moment, who are trying to conscript people, but of course people aren't joining. This is how it's going to work, guys. They're going to sell you the narrative, not shall we go or not, but how are we going to go about it? And of course, our big man, Yuri Bezmenov, then talked about the 4 stages, didn't he? The first one was demoralization. Then basically we have educated an entire generation in Marxist ideology. The next one, the destabilization, the economy, foreign relations, defense systems. I used to work in defense. We've seen the collapse of FCAS. We've seen the collapse of Ajax, all those massive projects, billions of money thrown down the drain. Crisis, violent change of power, structure and economy. We're getting that right now with immigration, with Islam, everything else in all our European countries, with the attacks down in Australia and everything else. We just see it again and again. And then of course the thing that's going to happen after is the normalization with a period of stability. And of course that's what we're driving towards now. We're entering the crisis phase. And now of course we're going to roll out everyone to try and convince you to send your sons and daughters into the military or the defense industrial complex. Henry Bolton.
I'm increasingly being called on social media a warmonger. I'm being called a warmonger because I'm saying that President Putin's invasion of Ukraine was wrong. And no matter whether you think Ukraine is corrupt, whether you've taken on board all this propaganda about, President Zelensky or anything else, none of those things are an excuse for a full-scale military invasion and annexation of territory, absorbing it into the Russian Federation.
Someone else I have zero time for, Hamish Breton Gordon, the man's name here, former Army Colonel, who is going to also talk some absolute bollocks to you.
What on earth can the British public be doing to further our resilience other than pressurising our government to spend a heck of a lot more money and put more resources and focus on our national defences? What else are we supposed to be doing?
Well, I think there's a lot we can do, and they do talk about what's called a strategic reserve. There are about 1 million veterans like myself still in the country who could certainly be used and are very keen to get involved as well. And I think, you know, any citizen of this country who doesn't want to get involved and doesn't want to help out to provide national resilience should probably consider whether, you know, they should be here at all.
I've heard this from callers. I don't want to fight for this country. I don't believe in this country.
Well, then presumably they're quite happy that this country is run by somebody else. And I think the vast majority of us don't. And the realisation from MI6 and from the military is that we are under severe threat from the Russians. And nobody thinks they're going to stop if they prevail in Ukraine.
Yeah, even MI6 is getting up on it as well, guys. Let's leave it there. Look, I appreciate all of you, listening to this kind of stuff. It means a lot to me because this country means a lot to me. Now, if you think we're not going to fight, I'll be real with you right now. They will find ways of getting your sons and daughters into the defence industrial complex or into the military. And you might think, I won't fight, I won't go. You do not understand what will happen to your jobs and your roles if we do not do this. And I'm saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm saying that, but I'm a realist, right? You know how it is, guys, okay? I'm an absolute realist. So all I'm saying is just be aware of what you're being told. Question everything if you possibly can. That's why the Ground News sub is a good one, because it gives you that balance, and that's why I use it, all right? I'm pushing it. Yeah, of course I'm pushing it, because it pays me money every time someone signs up. It's a great deal. Listen, reject everything you're being told by the mainstream media and by the government at the moment, all right? There is a psyops going on, and what they're trying to do is they're going to say, well, listen, we're going to go to Russia. It's just how. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.